Everyone thought the Oak Island mystery had been solved, every tunnel explored, every treasure revealed, every moment aired. Then, without warning, a mysterious video appeared online. No watermark, no explanation, just a single title, Oak Island, restricted archive footage. Within minutes, it vanished. But not before a few eyes caught something shocking. Rick Lagina and his team, working in total secrecy. No cameras, no lights, just harsh flood lamps slicing through the darkness, and a faint metallic glint buried underground. This wasn't part of any broadcast episode, it was something else. Something so intense the site had to be shut down immediately. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button, because what you're about to see was never meant to get out. The footage opens beneath blinding lamps, slicing through thick fog. Generators rumble nearby. A backhoe sits at the center of the scene. Rick Lagina stands there, lit from one side, directing the dig like he's racing a clock. No producers, no film crew, just Rick, Marty, and two unknown workers dressed in plain gear. The timestamp makes everything stranger. 3 weeks after the season officially ended. The island should have been cleared out. Permits expired. So, what was Rick doing back? And why all the secrecy? Within hours, forums lit up. Some people dismissed it as test footage. Others whispered about government involvement. But anyone familiar with Rick's expression could see it. This wasn't curiosity. It was urgency, maybe even fear. Then the noise hits, a deep mechanical growl as the drill bites into the earth. The camera jolts, then refocuses. A shimmer flashes underground. Someone leans in and mutters, barely audible, "That's the chamber signal, it's real." Then chaos. A shout breaks through the machinery. "It's hollow." The drill halts. Lights flare. Everyone freezes. In the stillness, you can hear Marty whisper, "Don't record this." But it was already too late. Someone had. Hours later, digital sleuths tore through that footage frame by frame. That's when they uncovered the GPS metadata, actual coordinates burned into the file, and the numbers didn't lead to the money pit. They pointed somewhere new. A thick section of forest east of Smith's Cove, land sealed off by Nova Scotia officials back in 2019. The public reason? Unstable geology. No access, no cameras, no answers. So why was Rick digging there at 3:14 a.m.? Why was the production team never notified? And why did the History Channel launch takedown orders faster than they ever have for any Oak Island leak? In one clear frame, Rick holds up a rugged tablet toward the light. On the screen, seismic lines drawn across underground stone. But these weren't random waves. Together, they formed a perfect hexagon, nearly 40 feet across, too uniform to be natural. Forensic experts later called it a vault signature, a geometric imprint left behind by engineered chambers designed to hide from radar detection. The camera zooms closer. Rick traces the hexagon with a shaking finger and whispers one word: vault. Whatever they uncovered that night wasn't authorized. It wasn't logged. It wasn't supposed to exist. But the coordinates changed everything. Experts matched the data to that restricted zone near Smith's Cove. And within hours, new machinery could be tracked operating there under cover of darkness. The leak continues from there. In near total darkness, the video flickers. Static creeps along the edges. The generators quiet down, replaced by the quick clicking of handheld scanners. Seismic lines pulse on screen, converging again into that flawless hexagon, buried deep beneath the cove. No natural formation can explain it. Rick speaks, voice unsteady. "This isn't natural. Someone built it. Marty, close behind, mutters about symmetry, how the formation mirrors catacomb chambers in southern France. The air tightens. Everyone knows what that implies. Templar architecture under Oak Island. One worker lowers a ground-penetrating probe. The display echoes hollow resonance. That's air, he says quietly. Rick doesn't hesitate. Then we go in. Marty pushes back. Flood traps, pressure risks, every danger Oak Island is known for, but Rick snaps. We've chased shadows long enough. This is real. He signals the driller. The drill bores downward. Sparks snap through the mist. Mud spits outward, then stops. Silence. Suddenly, metal grinds against metal deep below. Cut. When the footage stabilizes again, they're knee-deep in fresh clay. Floodlights blaze against a rough sandstone wall. Something glimmers through the dirt. The camera zooms in. A thin line, straight and sharp, forming a rectangular outline. Rick brushes it clean with his glove. It's a door. They dig faster, revealing what looks like a sealed stone portal. Under UV light, faint markings glow, overlapping crosses like encoded symbols. One worker whispers that he's seen these symbols etched into relics held in a Portuguese monastery believed to connect to the Knights Templar. Rick's expression shifts. Excitement drains away. This shouldn't exist, he murmurs. They brace the seal with pry bars, ready for rushing water. But when it breaks, there's no flood. Only a long hiss of trapped air escaping a space untouched for centuries. Rick peers through. The camera captures a narrow tunnel spiraling into darkness. It's air-sealed, Marty confirms, stunned. Rick lowers his flashlight into the void. Hand-carved steps appear, spiraling downward with impossible precision. Someone hid this on purpose, he whispers. The team widens the opening and slips inside. One by one, they disappear. The descent begins. The footage grows grainy. The tunnel curves around them in smooth spirals. Every few meters, carvings emerge. Roman numerals, Latin phrases, strange geometric symbols burnt into the rock. Rick reads one aloud as the camera drifts over it. Custodia oram sacrum. Guard the sacred gold. His voice echoes down the passage. The deeper they walk, the more unreal the structure becomes. There's no way early colonists built this. The air thickens, metallic and ancient. No dripping water. Just silence humming through the stone. The camera catches rails embedded in the floor, rusted tracks, as if carts once moved through this place, carrying something impossibly heavy. Then the light finds movement. Shadows stretch across the stone. But when they turn, nothing. The cameraman steadies the lens, breathing hard. And that is where the footage cuts. The staircase finally ends on a flat platform, layers of dust thick across the floor. At the far edge, slumped against the wall, the unmistakable outline of a human figure emerges. Rick approaches cautiously, brushing away sediment. It's a skeleton, still clad in tattered remnants of a miner's uniform, styling pointing to the early 1800s. Beside it lies a rusted pickaxe. Whoever this was, they never made it back to the surface. Rick kneels, flashlight trembling as it sweeps over the ground. More bones are scattered nearby, clustered around a collapsed section of tunnel. The camera pans over a skull, jaw frozen, as if caught in a silent scream. Marty steps closer, whispering, "They got here first." Rick looks at him, pale in the flickering light, and then something had buried them. The air hums faintly, vibrating against the microphones. Dust spirals in the lamp beams, forming shapes that almost look like letters before dissolving back into nothingness. Rick raises the tablet again. The readings spike. "We're standing on something massive," he says, "and it's not just rock." Suddenly, the feed glitches violently. A metallic flash pierces the dust, brief as molten gold, igniting in darkness. When the image stabilizes, the crew has moved deeper. The tunnel curves sharply, and Rick's beam catches something astonishing: a massive bronze surface embedded in the stone, circular, perfectly crafted, clearly man-made. 7 iron slots line its face, each shaped for a key. None of them hold keys. Silence falls. A slow drip echoes against stone. Marty steps forward, tracing a slot with his finger. The fourth is already turned halfway. "Someone opened this before us," he murmurs. The air feels heavier now, almost electric. They try to pry it, wedge it, even drill around the edges. Nothing budges. It's as if the door itself is fused to the rock. Rick notices something strange. One of the torch brackets along the wall looks newer, polished. He twists it. A deep, mechanical clunk reverberates through the stone. Slowly, impossibly, the bronze circle rotates. Dust cascades from the ceiling as ancient gears grind to life, echoing like distant thunder. The crew steps back, covering their mouths as a stale gust of air pushes outward. The door slides aside, revealing a black void. Rick steps first, boots crunching over brittle fragments of wood, perhaps even bone. The camera follows as light spills into the cavern. The chamber stretches out, massive and glittering. The ceiling is coated in mirrored quartz, scattering flashlight beams across walls in a shimmering cascade, as if the room itself breathes. Echoes multiply their movements endlessly, their shadows fracturing across the mirrored roof. The floor is uneven, littered with half-buried crates. The wood is ancient but intact, stamped with the double cross of the Knights Templar. Rick crouches, brushing off dust. He pries open a crate. Inside, dull gold bars glint, each stamped London 1914. Marty stares. This isn't medieval treasure. It's 20th century bullion, long thought lost during wartime transport. Rick flips one over, recognition dawning. "The Halifax consignment," he whispers. The shipment supposedly vanished in the 1917 harbour explosion, a secret British gold transfer meant to fund the war. Yet here, buried beneath Oak Island, lies its cargo, untouched. Questions surge. Who moved it here? How was it sealed behind a vault, centuries older than the shipment itself? The camera sweeps over a different glint among the crates. This time, stone instead of wood, engraved with Latin and a Templar cross. Rick clears the dust to reveal a wax-sealed lid. Inside are parchments wrapped in crumbling leather, hand-drawn maps of Nova Scotia, detailing tunnels and intersecting lines, all converging beneath Oak Island. Along the top, Codex AI. Unfolding one sheet, Rick reveals diagrams of vaults marked in archaic French. Coordinates match the island's known grid: Smith's Cove, Borehole 10X, the swamp. These were planned centuries before. Marty reads aloud, "Arum interaum subsign dupiti, gold in the earth, guarded under the double sign." The same symbol carved into the crates. Beneath the maps, a smaller scroll, written elegantly, dated AD 1753. It details the Templar descendants in exile, survivors of the order long thought destroyed, moving their treasure piece by piece across the Atlantic. The implications are staggering. The Halifax gold wasn't merely wartime bullion. It was part of a lineage of hidden transfers stretching back hundreds of years. Marty lowers his light, voice quiet. They used the Halifax shipment to replenish what was taken, to keep the vault alive. Rick glances at the entrance, eyes wide. Centuries of myth, religion, and greed pressing down on them. Every generation left its mark, its code, its silence. The camera pans across the chamber. Rows of crates, mirrored ceiling above, bronze door locked behind them. Reflections multiply endlessly, as if the Templars themselves are watching. Rick lifts a gold bar again, light flickering across its edge. "This was never about one treasure," he murmurs. "It's a network." The footage distorts, static creeping in. The last frames show Rick clutching the Templar chest, staring down a branching side tunnel. A metallic hum rises, steady, mechanical, impossibly deep. The image stutters, collapsing to black. Seconds later, the feed returns, camera tilted, half buried in debris. Voices echo along the corridor. The parchment Rick studied, the one referencing Codex AI, lies crumpled on the floor. His gloves are smeared with dust and something darker. Marty cuts through the static. "Rick, look around. Half of it's gone." The camera steadies, revealing the chamber once more, but it's unrecognizable. Crates lie shattered, lids ripped open, contents stripped away. Only a few broken ingots glint faintly in the dust. The rest, gone. Rick steps forward, breath sharp and ragged. "Who touched this?" he demands, voice echoing off the stone. Silence, then faint murmurs, indistinct arguments in low tones. He turns toward the noise. Shadows flicker across the mirrored ceiling. Figures near the entrance tunnel, unknown, not part of the crew. "We weren't alone down here," Marty whispers. The camera catches movement. One figure dragging a tarp-covered object, another carrying a heavy black case marked with a stenciled crown insignia. Rick's voice breaks with anger. "You can't just take this. This is evidence." The reply comes cold, filtered through a respirator mask. "This never happened. Bury it again." The camera jerks violently, as if someone tried to snatch it, then cuts to static. Metadata reveals a perfect 12-minute gap. Deliberate, not corrupted. When the footage resumes, the chamber has transformed. Light is dimmer, reflections dulled. Crates gone, bronze door resealed. Rick stands at the center, shoulders slumped, hands trembling. Marty films in silence. "They said we can't talk about it," he mutters to himself. "Could lose everything. Rights, permits." Rick doesn't answer. He stares at the sealed door, voice low. "Then it was never ours to begin with." Above ground, the leak spreads uncontrollably. Within hours, mirrored copies flood servers, reposted under fake accounts, dissected by thousands of online sleuths. Clips of the bronze door rack up millions of views before vanishing. By morning, every copy is gone, scrubbed clean, replaced with copyright claims from untraceable shell companies. 2 days later, all excavation around Smith's Cove is revoked. Official reason? Subsurface instability. Yet locals notice unusual activity. Barges arrive at night with no lights. Temporary scaffolding rises under tarps. A fisherman records flashes of white light flickering through the trees. "Like welding," he notes in a leaked report. Satellite data shows containers being moved. 3 large rectangular units loaded onto a covered barge depart toward the mainland. Mid-journey, the transponders vanish. Someone shut them off. History Channel releases a brief statement. Unauthorized, possibly manipulated material circulated online. No credible connection to Oak Island operations. No denial, just distance. Insiders report production suspended temporarily for security reasons. Rumors spread among local contractors. New security teams, unmarked SUVs, uniformed personnel patrolling the restricted zone. One worker claims to have seen crates loaded onto a military transport truck, marked with the same double-cross symbol from the footage. Weeks later, divers return under cover of darkness. The seabed shows fresh trenches, sediment disturbed, evidence of heavy excavation. One diver notes a shimmer in the water, flecks of gold suspended like dust. Testing confirms refined bullion matching early 20th century British mint standards. Speculation erupts. If it was the Halifax gold, why the secrecy? And the older Templar artifacts, the parchments, what happened to them? Official silence only fuels theories. Conspiracy forums map historical Templar sites along Nova Scotia's coast. Patterns emerge, geometric alignments pointing back to Oak Island. Private archaeologists analyzing the footage note inconsistencies. Medieval-style architecture combined with modern reinforcement. The vault had been accessed multiple times over the centuries, maintained deliberately. Some experts suggest the Halifax shipment may have been intentionally hidden within an existing Templar vault, disguised as a wartime accident. That could explain the 1914 markings and the silence that followed. Rick Lagina has never publicly addressed the footage. Marty, neither. When pressed in interviews, both deflect, citing rumors or digital fabrications. Crew members from that period recall sudden non-disclosure agreements, confiscated equipment. A former sound engineer says his external drive was taken for review and never returned. Months pass. The island grows quiet. The dig site sits abandoned. Tour boats are turned away. A new perimeter fence appears near Smith's Cove, warning of geological hazards. Yet fishermen still report the low, constant hum of machinery at night, pumps or drills operating deep underground. Independent researchers scanning from offshore detect multiple subsurface voids, arranged in precise triangular patterns, radiating from the cove. Whatever lies beneath Oak Island is not a single vault, it is a network. Only one section was uncovered. Geologists estimate the untouched chambers could contain deposits exceeding $100 million in modern value. But some argue the gold was only camouflage. The true treasure, proof that the Knights Templar not only escaped Europe, but established a functioning refuge in the New World centuries before Columbus. The Codex AI wasn't a ledger of wealth, it was a map of a secret lineage. Every leaked copy ends the same way. Rick turns toward the resealed bronze door, light glinting faintly across his face before darkness swallows the frame. Forensic analysts claim a voice, barely audible, whispers, "Leave the rest." What that meant, more gold, more vaults, something else entirely, remains unknown. One thing is certain, something monumental was discovered, then erased, every trace removed, every story rewritten, every witness bound by silence. And beneath the quiet soil of Oak Island, the hum continues, a buried heartbeat, a reminder that the ground still hides far more than anyone has seen.